What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7, Episode 3. So let's get into it. We're still at the dance event that Ashley was hosting. Candace has left the building because she wasn't going to take part, or she was just so angry at the fact that Giselle would approach her and tell her that her husband, Chris, had made her feel uncomfortable at last year's reunion. So Candace was like, I'm not having it. If y'all are looking for a husband, for a butt grabbing husband, call Michael Darby for that because it's not going to be my husband. So she ends up leaving. So Mia and Giselle, they end up having a conversation. Giselle apologizes to Mia about doubting her health postings, her health stories online. So she apologizes to her for that. And even though she apologized and Mia accepted the apology, I feel like Mia is still going to be extremely cautious around Giselle. She's not going to be blind and she's not going to be stupid when it comes to Giselle, because Giselle will apologize about one thing, but she's got something else for you. She's got more tricks in her bag for you. So the rest of the women, they're talking about Mia's health situation. And Wendy said, look, we don't really know what's going on, so let's just give her the benefit of the doubt. She goes, I'm approaching this differently because I have a friend who recently passed away from cancer. So I'm not going to automatically doubt someone's story if they say that they're having a cancer scare. So let's just give her the benefit of the doubt. So then Robin wants to address Wendy about why did Wendy only single out Robin and Giselle as far as the people that were doubting Mia's health scare stories or healthcare postings. So Wendy, I forgot what Wendy's response was, but at some point, Wendy had said something about, well, you're accusing Mia of lying. And Robin was like, I'm not accusing her of lying. I just have questions about what she posted. That's it. I just have questions. So Wendy and Robin, they're going back and forth, right? So it got to the point where Robin got out of her seat and was actually approaching Wendy in sort of like an intimidating way. And Wendy just sat in her chair, cool, calm, collected, and told Robin to go sit back down. And that's exactly what Robin did. I realized that when Robin gets really, really triggered, she likes to do that thing where she's slowly walking up to you. She's going to get into you, like she's slowly walking up to you and she's going to get in your face. I remember she did this with Ashley at the kangaroo restaurant that Michael Darby used to own, and Ashley and Robin got into it. Robin was walking up to Ashley and she got like centimeters away from her face. And I remember Robin also did this to Monique Samuels with the umbrella incident. I forgot what the hell they were fighting about, but they got into it. They were exchanging words. Robin starts walking up to Monique like she was about to do something. Monique had that umbrella in between them. And you can tell that Robin was, really approaching her because Monique, you could tell that she was using some muscle power to keep Robin away from her with that umbrella. So she did it again, but she listened to Wendy. Wendy told her, you better go sit down. And that's exactly what she did. So me and Giselle come back and they're good. They're back on track, whatever. And I wonder if Robin felt some kind of way that me and Giselle made up so quickly, because it seems like Robin still had some unresolved issues or some unanswered questions for Mia. But I guess when she saw that Giselle and Mia were good, she felt like she also had to play nice with Mia because, she follows Giselle. Whatever Giselle does, that's what Robin's going to do. Whatever mood Giselle is in, that's the mood that Robin's going to take. So when she saw that Giselle was good with Mia, all of a sudden she's good with Mia for that moment. So then Robin goes around asking everybody, are your kids off for spring break? Everybody says yes. So then she invites everybody to bring their children to some event, some family event that she's going to be hosting for spring break. But she did not invite Wendy. So Wendy says, the fact that you are excluding my children to your event shows me what kind of character you have. So after that, everybody disperses, everybody leaves, and we don't see Wendy. The camera's not on her, but her mic is still on. And so one of the producers asked Wendy about how she really felt about Mia and her health issues or her health postings. And Wendy was like, she's lying. I know she's lying. Yeah, she's lying. And I was like, Wendy, what does it say about your character, girl? You got all over Robin for accusing Mia of lying. And then here you are saying that you think she's lying too. So what does that say about your character? And once you're, okay, when it's time to record, Wendy, when y'all are recording, until you are home and you have completely stripped down and you're taking a shower and there's absolutely no mic on you, the mic is always hot. Please be aware that the mic is always hot when y'all are recording. Moving on from there. Then we see Candace. She's taking her fertility meds. She has to give herself an injection. Chris can't do it because he's working. So she has her nurse on FaceTime and her nurse is walking her through the process. And I was like, oh my God, that needle to me was long. That needle to me was so long. And so she has to inject herself. And I was just like, I couldn't do it. But she ended up doing it. She did a good job. She said it didn't hurt. So good for her. So she says she is finally making moves in her journey to becoming a mom. And it's like, I hope that, everything works out for her. Ashley. I didn't pay too much attention to this scene because I wasn't interested. It was quite boring. Ashley's with her brother looking at a house. She's still trying to find a home. The other three offers that she had put up went nowhere because other people came with cash offers and outbid her. So whatever. So she talks about that. I think the producers asked her in her confessional, why didn't Michael put in a cash offer? And I think she says something about if you do a cash offer, it messes up your finances. If you purchase your home with cash, it does something, not your finances, it affects your refinancing negatively. Like when you want to go refinance, I don't know what else she was talking about. It was quite boring. So something about refinancing. And I'm wondering, is it because of the refinancing or is it because he just doesn't have that much money to do a cash offer on a home, on the kind of home that you want? And then, okay, so then they go back to the house. They're back at the house and the real estate agent is with them. And the real estate agent reveals something that Michael did and Ashley didn't know that Michael did. And so Ashley's upset because he's doing stuff behind her back with their finances. I have no idea. I don't care. If it's bothering you, Ashley, just go ahead and file for divorce and separate your finances from him and move on with your damn life. I mean, this man has been nothing but problems for you from day one. He's embarrassed you, humiliated you, got y'all involved in a damn lawsuit for grabbing somebody's butt. Girl, how much more can you take? And now you claim that y'all are separated or whatever the hell, but you're still upset because he's doing stuff behind your back with the girl, just go ahead and divorce him. Moving on. Oh, don't care. Robin. So Robin and Juan are having a conversation about their marriage, and she brings up the prenuptial agreement. And I think Juan was a little bit taken aback, but he didn't want to show it. I think he was kind of like, damn, but he didn't want to show it. So he's like, yeah, fine, we can do a prenuptial agreement because I have more money than you anyway. And so in her confessional, the producer asked her, does he have more money than you? And she says, I don't think that's what he said. I think he said, I can make more money than you. However, she twisted around. And so they played the tape back and he clearly said, I have more money than you. And I don't know. To me, Juan and Robin are so almost even. Like, it doesn't make any difference. I mean, she might make more money than him this year, and the next year he makes more money than her. They're so comparable. They're like, girl, it's not like you're marrying a multi-gazillionaire. He's not marrying a multi-gazillionaire. Okay, y'all are practically the same. Okay? And if you feel like you need a prenuptial agreement to protect yourself, why are you getting married? Why can't y'all just continue doing what y'all have been doing? Like, I don't understand. These kids are almost grown and y'all are still not married. I don't know how old the youngest one is, but I don't think he's in elementary school anymore. He might be in junior high. The older one looks like he's approaching high school or in high school. Girl, what does it matter now? Just stay the way you are, stay the homies and continue doing what y'all have been doing. Anywho, moving on. She mentioned something about when they got divorced, or I don't even know when they got divorced or whatever, he was seeing some other woman and that was kind of messing stuff up. And she used that as an excuse of why she wanted to do a prenup. And Juan looked at her, he was like, don't do it, Robin. Don't do it. And I'm like, do it, Robin. Do it. Like, give us more information. Like, what exactly happened? What went down? But anywho, these people Juan and Robin are just ridiculous. And this whole thing about, do they want to get married? Do they not want to get? It's so ridiculous. Moving on. Wendy goes to see her dermatologist. She's been losing her hair after she had her last child. She tells the dermatologist that she's been very stressed out because she has a lot on her plate. The dermatologist determines that your hair loss is caused by stress because when you are stressing out, stress pulls nutrients from your follicles because your hair growth is not a priority to your body. And so that's what happens. And so she's dealing with that. Moving on to Mia. Mia and Robin meet up. Robin starts apologizing right away about, oh, I'm so sorry, Mia, about what I said and questioning what you put on your social media. And then she proceeds to continue to question her. So it was beyond questioning. She was interrogating that woman about what she had posted on her social media. She was asking her questions like, she was all up in her medical procedures. She was asking her about the lumps that she had discovered in her body. So Mia said that there were some lumps somewhere in her body. Robin was asking her about the biopsy. So they biopsied your lumps, and then what were the results? And how soon after did you post that did you get the results? I mean, she was all up in her medical records. And I'm just like, Robin, why do you care? What does it matter? Why can't you just wish the woman well and move on with it? And if she's lying about it, it's going to come out. Don't y'all remember on The Real Housewives of the OC when Vicky Golverson was dating that guy? I forgot his name. When she was dating that guy and he lied about having cancer, and it all came out that he lied about having cancer. So if she's lying about it, eventually the truth will come out because, I mean, it's all going to come out eventually. So just wish her well. Give her the benefit of the doubt because you don't want to be on the wrong side of someone possibly having cancer. I don't know if the woman has cancer or not, but whatever the hell is going on, just wish her well and move on. Be like, okay, girl, hope you feel better. And then talk about something else. So then they talk about, okay, this was what really killed me about Robin. Robin downplayed Giselle's story about Chris. When Giselle was telling Robin, me and Chris were in the room alone. I felt scared. I was intimidated. Oh my God, I was so scared. I was running for my life. Robin dismissed it. She was like, girl, he wasn't trying to do nothing. Like, why are you even saying this? And, Chris is our friend and we talk to Chris all the time and Chris has cooked for us. And girl, he wasn't trying to do nothing. Completely dismissed Giselle's story. Okay, so Robin, if it wasn't a big deal then, why are you bringing it up now to Mia? And so she says, Giselle told me that Chris did X, Y, and Z. And so then Mia said, girl, I got a story for you. And the way that she said it and then how they cut to break, it really made it seem like Mia had something to say. Like she also had her own truth to tell. But then when they came back from break, the only thing she said was, oh, at Karen's spring fling party, Chris was staring at me the whole entire time. And then they showed the tape. And they showed about 2 or 3 different scenes at the spring fling. Chris wasn't even looking her way. I don't even know if Chris remembered that she was even there. Chris was not even looking her way. Not once. He didn't even glance. He didn't glance her way. He didn't blink her way. Nothing. And I was like, why are y'all women doing this? Why are you doing this to this man? And the only thing that I can think of, they must really hate Candace. They must really, really hate Candace. I'm not a Candace fan by far, but I don't know if it's because her music career is like taken off and they're jealous of her. I don't know what the hell's going on, but they must really. Ashley and her non-story about Chris wanting to hook up with her friend at the W, not knowing that Chris worked there. Giselle saying that she felt intimidated by Chris being in this room with her alone. She didn't really say that he did or acted in any kind of way that was crossing the line. She didn't say that she felt like she couldn't leave, like he had trapped her. He was standing in front of the door, wouldn't let her leave, or that he had touched her inappropriately, or that he had said anything to her inappropriately. It was just her own fears of being alone in a room with a man. And I think that it could have been Chris, it could have been Ray, it could have been Gordon, it could have been anybody. And she still would have felt, oh my God, I'm alone in a room with a man. I feel uncomfortable and he's a married man. And I don't think that it had anything to do with Chris. I think it's just the fact that maybe she just felt uncomfortable being in a room alone with somebody else's husband. I don't know. And I don't know. I don't want to downplay or dismiss her experience because she felt what she felt, I guess. She felt what she felt. And so we can't just be like, oh, Giselle, get over it. Nothing happened. She felt what she felt. But I just don't think that Chris was trying to do anything to her. Now, he had been drinking because he was definitely, feeling himself at that reunion. Okay. He had a couple of something. Maybe that's why she felt uncomfortable because he was kind of inebriated. So she kind of felt like, oh, anything can happen. I don't feel comfortable because he's kind of tipsy or he's drunk. I need to get out of here. But anyway, my whole question is, Robin, you didn't take her seriously when she told you the story. So why are you repeating that same story to Mia? Why is it a topic of your conversation? Moving on. Giselle comes over to Karen's house, and Giselle proceeds to tell Karen what happened to her between her and Chris at the reunion. Karen says, well, he needs to apologize to you. So then Giselle is explaining what happened in great detail. And while this is happening, we're having another scene that's going on simultaneously. Candace and Chris, they're talking about it. They're at a restaurant and they're having a conversation about it. But first, they talk about their fertility journey. So evidently, whatever medication she's been taking for her body to produce eggs, she's not responding. So this is kind of solidifies to me that they've always been trying to have a baby, but it wasn't working. And now they're going through IVF, not to save embryos for the future, but to have a baby right now because she wasn't getting pregnant. So the medication isn't working. It's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So Candace feels defeated. She feels like it's not going to work. She starts crying. She feels like she's going to fail at this. And, girl, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You're going to you haven't giving it a chance enough. People have to go through IVF sometimes, quite a few times before they finally get their baby. So this is just the beginning of it. So then they talk about the whole Giselle incident. So Chris tells Candace that it was Giselle that has suggested that they go into her room. Giselle tells Karen that it was Chris who has suggested that they go into her dressing room, makeup room, glam room, whatever. So they both blame each other for suggesting they go into the room. And of course, Giselle's story is that when she got to the room, she realized that her glam team was gone, and so she was going to be alone with him, and she felt uncomfortable immediately. Giselle tells Karen that, she was worried that it was going to be her word against his. And so Karen was like, why would it be your word against his? Like, what happened in that damn room? Well, nothing really happened. It's just that she felt really uncomfortable. Chris says to Candace that it was his idea to keep the door open. He suggested to keep the door open. Karen asks Giselle, well, if you felt so uncomfortable, why didn't you just leave? And that's when Giselle tells Karen, well, that's when I told Chris, can you please go ask them if they need me back on set? And she said that just to get rid of him. Chris says that if Giselle is so bothered by him and so scared of him and wants to paint this picture that he's this, predator, why is she constantly talking about his anatomy? Every chance she gets, she talks about the brown and pink. So Karen shares with Giselle that the same thing happened to her. She says, you know what? I had an incident with a husband that's a part of this group here. They were giving me a hug and they were hugging me too tight and I felt really uncomfortable and I was so traumatized by it that I had to go talk to my pastor and I had to go talk to Ray about it. And of course, she didn't say who it was. At first, I thought it was Gordon, but she said it happened 3 years before. And I don't think Mia and Gordon were on the show 3 years prior. Unless she's got her time frame wrong. Because the only person I can think of that would do that to her would either be Gordon or Michael Darby. So Robin then joins Candace and Chris. And first she starts talking about Ashley, how Ashley got the story completely wrong. And then they talk about Giselle. And Robin says, I don't believe Giselle. I don't believe her at all. I know you wouldn't do anything to her. You know, she's very she's like defending Chris and, you know, painting Giselle out to be, you know, I don't know what, a liar, I guess. You know, she says that she doesn't believe Giselle. Giselle was over exaggerating, being overly dramatic. And then Candace says, well, if Giselle has such a problem with my husband, then why was she like giving him a hug at Karen's spring fling? And that's where the episode ended. And I'm just like, I cannot believe that they are really going to run with this story. If I was Candace and Chris, I'd be talking to an attorney. Like, for real. I would be talking to a damn attorney. Because this is like damn near defamation, if not defamation. This is like defamation. And this could affect his job. You know, who wants to hire someone who's going around making women feel intimidated? This could affect his job. But at the same time, I know that Giselle felt what she felt. And you cannot discount how someone feels, because that's just how they feel. But I think this should have been handled in private. If it bothered Giselle that much, I really think that this should have been handled in private. I think she should have had a conversation with Chris, or a conversation with Chris and Candace and Andy or whoever else, and been like, hey, this is what happened. I felt uncomfortable. I just want to let it be known. And then Chris will have an opportunity to like defend himself or whatever. I just don't think that. And it also was kind of worrisome is that Chris, I think, was drunk, right? And Giselle felt intimidated because he probably didn't have full control of his mind or his senses or whatever. I don't know. But I'm just kind of like, oh, this is I'm surprised that Giselle is talking about it also, like, so freely, like, hey, he made me feel this way. I was uncomfortable with him, knowing like what happened with Michael Darby, and knowing this, just the history of the show, just to be like, you would think that she would at least be like, you know what, let me have a conversation with Chris and say, Chris, remember last year at the reunion, blah blah blah, this is how I felt. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know, because I don't want to discount what she says, because that's her reality. But I also feel like we can't villainize this man because of a feeling that she had. You know, he didn't do anything. She just felt a certain way. And it could have been Chris, it could have been Ray, it could have been Gordon. And I think just the whole idea of her being alone in a room with a man, I think that's what got her kind of like frazzled. It wasn't necessarily because it was Chris. And maybe she should just tell her story that way, you know, to be like, hey, I don't like being in a room alone with a man. It makes me feel very, very uncomfortable. I know Chris wasn't really trying to do nothing to me, but just for future reference, I don't want to be alone in a room with a man. And that's fine. And that's perfectly okay. Maybe that's what her issue is. And maybe she should have approached it that way instead of like Chris. Because I don't know. Nothing, unless something happened, this could kind of be like defamation. I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.